49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan said that Brock Purdy could miss, quote unquote, multiple weeks with his left shoulder and toe injury, and that he's now a long shot to play Sunday at New Orleans against the Saints. And that means we are looking at the real possibility that Mac Jones, who signed with San Francisco during the offseason, is going to wind up making his first start with the 49ers, and we're finally going to get to see what it's like for Mac Jones to operate a Kyle Shanahan-led offense.
Yeah, a reminder that, of course, they ended up getting Trey Lance when they made all those trades to get the third pick instead of Mac Jones, but the rumors were they would get Mac Jones. Anyway, that aside, your reaction, Field, to seeing that maybe Brock Purdy's out for a while.
Okay, two things can be true at once. I'm not sure there's an offense that's better equipped to bring the second quarterback in and keep things afloat like San Francisco is. A reminder that Nick Mullins has the second most passing yards in an NFL quarterback's first 16 starts in league history, only behind Patrick Mahomes. That, of course, was operating under Kyle Shanahan. At the same time, it's a big blow. Listen, Brock Purdy now makes $55 million per season for a reason. He played at a high level this past weekend. There were the 2 interceptions. They only hung 17 on Seattle. But I thought he was a ceiling raiser for this team, where I think there was a time where the perception of a lot of the quarterbacks in San Francisco was a little bit of a floor raiser within this offense. I am also completely fascinated by what Mac Jones looks like in this offense, Lord, because felt like more of the rumors back in the day in the 2021 NFL draft, right? It certainly felt like the player that Kyle Shanahan wanted to pull the trigger on at number 3 overall was Mac Jones. We'll see how it looks this Sunday.
It's a great opportunity for Mac Jones. Huge. The offense is going to have to run the football better. They were bad this weekend against Seattle's front. We've talked about that. I'd feel better if George Kittle was going to be there. He won't be. Pressures, can you play on Brock Purdy's timing with Ricky Pearsall was so good. Can Mac replicate that? You still have Juszczyk and you still have CMC. So they can still run a bunch of their 21 personnel stuff and spread the field, which is kind of what Mac has the opportunity, or what he's best at. Can he operate in the chaos the same way that Brock Purdy is capable of? Because that's what he did so great Sunday. And that's why an interception happened. You're like, he's trying to carry the team right now. If there's a coach, if there's a system, if there's a supporting cast that can help, it's San Francisco's.
They got to prevent themselves from being one-dimensional. To your point, they got to run the football better, but they're in a situation now with Mac Jones. It's always been, can he push the ball down the field? And if you're a defense going against Mac Jones in a first-time start with Kyle Shanahan, are we just going to say, hey, we're going to take away the run and force him to throw it? And if Mac Jones can't do that, it's going to get late early.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, too. 31 touches in week 1 for Christian McCaffrey. So, no Brock Purdy, no George Kittle, no Brandon Ayuk. Is Jennings going to play? Like, maybe you have to replicate that, because I think this is going to be a short passing game, a heavy screen game, and try to let the other people win the game and not force Mac to lose it.
Reminder that Brandon Ayuk is scheduled to return somewhere around week 6 or 7 if we're being optimistic. That was something that we don't really...
6, 7, yes! Yes, line 6, 7 talk.
My kid said that's not cool anymore.
It's not cool anymore.
No one
because it tracks now. I didn't believe it.
You said it before the show that Dan has turned into a middle-aged man, and that's now just been proven correct. All right, coming up is our draft expert. So each week he's going to highlight the plays from rookies that you need to see. Field, let's kick this off with number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward.
Yeah, the Cam Ward stat line, Laura, not going to blow you away. 12 for 28, under 130 passing yards. That being said, I saw a lot more good than bad from Cam. I absolutely loved the pre-snap command that he was showing. He was also throwing some frozen ropes. Maybe to the point that his receivers weren't expecting them to be that hard, because there were drops all over the tape. You just saw one from Alec Manor, also from Calvin Ridley. For a young quarterback, I don't care if it's drops, pass protection, play calling, you name it. You have to help out your number 1 pick a whole lot more than Tennessee did, but I certainly believe this player has an immensely bright future in the NFL. 5 picks after Cam Ward went was Ashton Jeanty, of course, to the Las Vegas Raiders. 19 carries for 38 yards with a long of just 9 yards against the New England Patriots, Laura. Here's the problem. Not a lot of space besides this touchdown run he had right here. Get this. He had a total of 38 rushing yards. He had 44 rushing yards after contact, Laura. This offensive line's got to block it up a whole lot better. They were playing with the lead. The Patriots were selling out for the run. That being said, if the offensive line for the Raiders does not give Ashton Jeanty more space, it's going to feel like the college football playoff game last year where Penn State overwhelmed Boise State and he was kept in check after video game numbers. Finally, my favorite rookie performance from the entire weekend Will Johnson. 47th overall pick out of Michigan. Went about, 35 picks too late in my estimation because of the knee concern. Huge crunching hit. But how about this? He was targeted 7 times. He allowed just 4 catches for 32 yards. This play was actually called off because of a penalty that was way far away from the play, but the natural ball skills from Will Johnson, he was excellent. I hope this guy goes on to become an all-pro because you and I were there in the green room in Green Bay. April 25th this past year, he was the last player remaining. Yeah. That's always a difficult spot to be in. This kid is way better than the 47th overall pick, and the early returns are very, very good.
Yeah, it felt like he didn't necessarily need a chip on his shoulder because he's already so talented, and then that probably gave him a little chip.
Ooh, maybe a gigantic
play on the field, exactly. All right, let's go to Houston, where they might be asking somebody to fix their offense, okay? The Texans were just 2 for 9 on 3rd downs in their loss to the Rams. That was the second worst 3rd down percentage in week 1, ahead of only the Titans. Part of the issue, the Texans averaged more than 10 yards to go on their 3rd down attempts. Texans coach D'Amico Ryans talked about who needs to improve.
It's never an entire group. That's the one thing about it. So there are individuals that have their moments throughout the week, and the lollygagging, it's a term everybody want to use now. It's for me, it's just our tempo, right, in and out of the huddle, right? We got to get in and out of the huddle quicker so we can get to the line of scrimmage so we can operate and make sure we got checks and things we have to make at the line of scrimmage. Well, to make those checks in the proper manner, right, we got to get out with some urgency.
Okay, so D'Amico referencing urgency and other things, but Phil, what do you think the Texans need to fix?
I think it's fair to say the biggest question about this roster coming into the season was the offensive line, right? They had some major shakeups, including trading away their best offensive lineman, Laremy Tunsil, this offseason. What happened early on in this game? The Texans shuffled the personnel along their offensive line, and not just because of injury. Ariante Ursary, their 2nd-round pick that they took out of Minnesota, is a lifelong left tackle. You got to play him there, I think. And by the way, I believe you got to let guys kind of like get forged in the fire. You got to play him. You got to keep him on the field. You got to let him see some of the bad, because eventually the good will follow the bad. The second thing that came to mind for me is I don't think there's any question that the best offensive playmaker they have is Nico Collins by a mile. Yep. Maybe some of these rookies will get there in time. Nico Collins can't have 3 catches in a game. You got to do something, whatever it is, to get him comfortable and get him the football more. Find ways, because he's way too talented to have 3 catches for 22 yards.
I completely agree. I mean, the offense needs to run through Nico Collins. I think the Rams defense did a really good job of taking him away and making sure he couldn't get behind him. And I think that also goes to the Texans play calling to say, okay, you got to understand, everyone knows Nico Collins is the guy, right? So you need to make sure you have options outside of Nico to get him going and the rest of your offense. Some of the concepts they were running seemed predictable, a little vanilla, and you can even see from, yes, there was a protection issue, as there has been for CJ. He was a little timid, and at times it didn't feel like he was confident that there were options for him down the field in the timing that he needed. So that's something that they got to get fixed and addressed from an offensive play calling position, as well as just understanding that the Hutchinsons and all these other options need to play off of what Nico is or what they're taking away from the outside.
What are the Texans good at offensively? It's one game, but last year and this year, what are they good at?
Last year they were good at throwing the football down the field to Nico Collins.
I don't understand why teams are making this stuff so hard. I go back 2 years ago to 23, and the backbone of this offense was the quarterback under center, play action, big in-breaking routes. Where are they?
Why would it change? They did make a change at offensive coordinator with Slowick, but why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
Do that?
My notes of the game, they're dealing with pressure again. It feels very stagnant. It feels very stale. They're struggling to get chunks. How come they can't help with protection? It's the same stuff that was often the case last year, and I understand D'Amico saying, like, we got to get to the line of scrimmage in time.
It's fair to note that that's amongst the best defensive fronts in the NFL. I think part of the counterpunch to that is if you know that your quarterback's going to be under siege, what's the plan to get the ball get the ball quickly? On the other side of this game, we saw the Rams do exactly that. There's a reason why Puka Nacua went off for 130 yards.
And like, my thing is this, like, for everyone who's like, well, the offensive line, you're trying to protect against them, so you're in the gun all the time. There's also different ways to help the offensive line from underneath the center. There's ways that you can put bodies next to tackles. There's ways that you can chip. Like, helping a questionable offensive line doesn't just always mean put your quarterback in the shotgun at 5 yards and throw the ball quickly. The defense is smart too.
I think it is like, to your point, development is in the reps, right? Like the same way you talk about guys need to play as a play caller. He's got to go in there and get his teeth kicked in a little bit and say, okay, well, this is how they're going to play against Nico Collins. And again, we got to get to the play action pass, but you got to be able to run the football in order for that to even be a threat to
make it look like running the football.
Yeah.
Like make it.
They did a great
like
job of saying, okay, we are taking Nico Collins away. Let me see what you have, and they didn't have an answer for that.
Watching Week 1 for the Houstons this year felt like watching Week 1 from the Bengals last year, where everything was shotgun, catch, and throw. It's not going to work in 2025 in the NFL. It just won't.
All right, we'll see if they adjust. You see them on Monday Night Football. That's coming your way. We have a doubleheader. Houston against the Buccaneers, Week 2 of Monday Night Football.
From Moody. And the 49ers are back to within 7. It's 28-21. So, following that touchdown, Moody is back out to kick it off. Hardman now to return it. Now an opening past the 30. Good return here. Brings it up to the 33-yard line.
It's easy to make your quarterback look good when you can just get open as easily as he has in this game so far. I mean, he had the big first half, remember. But here in the second half, he just continues to add to these numbers here in the third quarter.
They put Kelsey in motion. Here's Patrick. He'll throw it on first down. Open man downfield. It's Rice. And he's down inside the 40-yard line.
Automatic first down.
Here's Edwards-Helaire. And he'll get about 5. Off the play fake, here's Mahomes. That's over the middle and intercepted. That's the linebacker, Fred Warner.
You know, Mike, I like the mindset of this offensive coordinator. He's saying, listen, I'm not looking to preserve this lead. I'm looking to extend my lead. Now, that aggressive play calling in this case led to the turnover. Now your defense has to take the field. Can they bail you out and keep this lead unchanged prior to their next possession?
Brock Purdy and the NFC champs back out to begin this next drive. And we show you some of the highlights, and there have been plenty to choose from. 3 touchdown passes and some other big-time throws as well. Certainly dialed in and on top of his game right throughout this one. 1st and 10 now from the 36. They'll motion the tight end, Thomas. Purdy on first down. He gets this one to Samuel. It's complete.
This is one of those throws where you're hoping you do most of the damage after the catch, but give credit to the defense. Once that ball was caught, they were on him quickly, and there was nowhere for him to go after the catch.
Third down, Purdy. He'll be forced to just throw that one away. It's incomplete.
For the most part, he's been very accurate with the ball, and he's completing over 60% of his passes, but because they haven't been able to get any big explosive plays, continue to push the ball downfield, hasn't really translated on the scoreboard just yet.
Chiefs offense ready to see what they can do. They'll do so with 1st and 10. Throwing from the gun. Here's Patrick. A whole lot of chances on that one. It was bouncing around, but it falls incomplete. Sky Moore, the intended receiver, and It'll lead to a second down. They'll run it straight ahead with Pacheco. And he's taken down, but not until he gets to the 32-yard line. A pickup of 12 yards. First down, KC.
So as we take a look at the box score, Mike, you realize here they got the lead. We're in the second half, but they don't have a lot of rush yards. It's because they use the passing game to score points and establish the lead. Now, how we judge their run game is from here to the end of the game. Can they pile up yards now in the second half and close this game out?
Nice chunk here in this good-looking drive. Pickup of 14 and a first down.
So far here today, putting points on the board certainly hasn't been a problem, and plays like that are why. Think about it, Mike. Sometimes you just have to take what the defense gives you and not force something that's not there, and that mid-range pass results in a fresh set of downs.
That's going to be pulled in by Brown. And he will score again. Hollywood Brown. Touchdown, Chiefs. That is his third touchdown of the afternoon. A beautiful combination in the air there. The pass downfield and bringing it the rest of the way into the end zone for the touchdown.
And it's really just a great route, Mike, and then a beautiful throw. The accuracy of the throw is what allowed the receiver not only to secure the catch, but then be able to turn it up and finish the play and find himself in the end zone.
So now it's Butker following the touchdown to send this one away. Samuel going to see what he can do. And he's brought down.